Let's get straight to the highlights. Caitlin Clark teed off at 7 a.m. alongside Nelly Korda.
Next on
this morning,
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark's foray into the LPGA Pro AM and the immense buzz it generated underscores a critical narrative in women's sports: the need for leagues to recognize and capitalize on their superstars' cross-sport appeal. Clark's popularity, built on her incredible basketball performances, clearly extends beyond the hardwood. As evidenced by her impact in the golfing world, the LPGA's strategic embrace of her participation is a masterclass in leveraging star power to elevate their brand. Millions of social media impressions, widespread coverage, and the presence of legends like Annika Sorenstam amplified the event's profile. In contrast, the WNBA's silence on her off-season ventures feels like a missed opportunity to celebrate their Rookie of the Year and keep fans engaged during the league's downtime. Clark's grievances with the WNBA, compounded by European League transfer rumors, highlight a broader issue. While the WNBA is making strides in marketing and visibility, failing to support and celebrate their athletes in multifaceted ways risks alienating them. For a star like Clark, who is reshaping what it means to be a women's sports icon, ignoring her achievements beyond basketball could send the wrong message about how much the league values its talent. As women's sports continue to grow, the LPGA's approach offers a valuable blueprint. Athletes like Clark are not just players, they are cultural touchpoints who can bring attention to women's sports across different arenas. Leagues that adapt and embrace this versatility will likely lead the way in shaping the future of women's sports.
Thank you. Caitlin Clark brought her golf game to the LPGA Tour today, playing in a Pro-Am that attracted a bigger crowd than the Tour often gets.
Caitlin Clark's transition from basketball star to golf sensation is a clear example of her unmatched crossover appeal. The LPGA's decision to spotlight her at their Pro-Am was a genius move, creating a wave of excitement that extended far beyond golf's typical audience. Fans clamored for access, proving that Clark's star power transcends sports boundaries. What's striking is the deafening silence from the basketball world, particularly the WNBA. Despite being a Rookie of the Year and one of the brightest stars in women's basketball, the league failed to acknowledge her off-season endeavors. This oversight highlights a missed opportunity to connect with fans during the off-season and showcase Clark's multifaceted talent. Clark's participation in the Pro-Am wasn't just a fun one-off. It was a moment that generated massive buzz and millions of impressions across social media. The LPGA leaned into her celebrity status, while the basketball world stayed on the sidelines, seemingly unaware of how her golfing stint could have kept the spotlight on women's basketball. For women's sports to grow, leagues must recognize and amplify these cross-sport moments. Clark isn't just a basketball player, she's a brand. The LPGA understood this, and by embracing her, they expanded their own reach. The WNBA, meanwhile, risks losing cultural relevance by failing to celebrate its star's broader appeal, originally not meant to be televised.
I wanted to come say hi and introduce myself. I play out here on tour. I'm Maria. Thank you for being out here. It's very cool what you're doing for sports, kicking ass on and off.
The LPGA absolutely understood the assignment when it came to Caitlin Clark, and the contrast with the WNBA couldn't be more glaring. By embracing her participation and treating her like royalty, the LPGA capitalized on Clark's cultural cachet without hesitation. Fans weren't just spectators, they were actively engaged, flooding tournament hosts with requests to watch her play. The LPGA didn't just feature Clark, they celebrated her. No drama, no complaints about overshadowing others, just pure positivity and smart marketing. In contrast, the WNBA's muted response to Clark's electric rookie season and her groundbreaking appearance at the Pro-Am feels like a missed opportunity. Here's an athlete who is single-handedly drawing millions of eyes to women's sports, and yet the league she represents seemed unwilling or unable to amplify her achievements in the way they deserve. It's not just about basketball anymore. Clark is a multi-platform star who commands attention wherever she goes. The LPGA's approach sends a clear message: they're willing to think outside the box to elevate their brand and their athletes. By rolling out the red carpet for Clark, they not only celebrated her but also showcased the collaborative potential of women's sports across disciplines. For the WNBA, the lesson is simple: support your stars, on and off the court. Caitlin Clark isn't just a great player, She's a once-in-a-generation talent whose impact extends far beyond the game. The league's failure to spotlight her broader success risks not only missing out on a major cultural moment, but also alienating fans who crave the same energy and enthusiasm the LPGA delivered. It's time for the WNBA to step up and truly understand the assignment.
One game where they spend 2 hours of their whole entire year has such an impact on their entire childhood, and I think that's really cool to think about. And that's the reason that you play. It's not because of the wins and the points you score. It's the amount of joy that you can bring people and the young girls that will one day grow up to hopefully, be whatever they want.
The backstory of Caitlin Clark's LPGA Pro-Am debut makes the LPGA's success even more impressive and the WNBA's silence even more baffling. Initially, the event wasn't even going to be televised, but relentless fan demand forced a change. By deciding to air the event, the LPGA demonstrated its willingness to listen to its audience and adapt. The result? A massive hit that left fans thrilled and engaged. This "give the people what they want" approach showed not only the LPGA's understanding of Clark's magnetic appeal, but also their ability to leverage a cultural moment. Fans tuned in not just to see a basketball star play golf, but to be part of an event. The LPGA leaned into the hype, made Clark the centerpiece, and reaped the rewards in viewership, social media buzz, and a broader audience base. Now let's contrast that with the WNBA. Caitlin Clark's rookie season was one for the history books, yet the league failed to capitalize on her incredible popularity. Instead of turning her into the undeniable face of the league, the WNBA's response has been muted at best. If a single golf appearance could spark this level of frenzy, imagine what an entire WNBA season focused on amplifying Clark's star power could achieve. The LPGA didn't treat Clark's participation as a mere celebrity cameo. They treated it as a marquee event. Meanwhile, the WNBA's lack of response feels like a missed opportunity, not just to elevate Clark, but also to grow their brand globally. In a sports landscape where male counterparts dominate, leaning into stars like Clark is essential for carving out space and competing for audience attention. The LPGA's handling of Clark's debut wasn't just smart. It was a wake-up call for every sports league, including the WNBA. Branding your stars and leveraging their fame is no longer optional. It's the blueprint for growth. The WNBA has immense potential, but to unlock it, they'll need to stop being reactive and start being visionary. Fans are calling them out for good reason. The league risks being left behind if it doesn't act boldly and embrace the star power it already has.
Oh, and you've been seeing Nelly Korda do that over and over again for 6 holes now.
It's just satisfying. The way she hits the ball is just satisfying. It's pretty awesome.
Have you picked up anything, learned anything from her?
Pairing of Caitlin Clark with Nelly Korda was a masterstroke in event planning and marketing. By aligning two of the most prominent names in sports, one from basketball, the other from golf, the LPGA created not just a buzzworthy moment, but a strategic platform for mutual elevation. This wasn't just about Caitlin Clark. It was about amplifying both her and Nelly Korda, showcasing the best of what women's sports have to offer across disciplines. Meanwhile, the WNBA's silence on the moment is telling. Clark, who brought record-breaking attention and viewership to women's basketball, remains underpromoted by the very league that benefits from her rising star. The absence of tweets, press coverage, or acknowledgement of her LPGA debut highlights a broader criticism of the WNBA, an overemphasis on evenly distributing the spotlight at the expense of recognizing and fully celebrating standout stars like Clark. The LPGA's approach demonstrated an understanding of how to leverage crossover appeal. By embracing Clark's presence, they drew fans not just from golf but also basketball and beyond, turning her participation into a win for everyone involved. In contrast, the WNBA's hesitation to fully embrace Clark as the face of the league feels like a missed opportunity to solidify her as a unifying figure for women's sports. Caitlin Clark's appeal is undeniable. She's not just a basketball player, she's a transcendent star capable of elevating any platform she touches. The LPGA saw this and acted decisively, while the WNBA seemed content to let the moment pass by. The result? The LPGA gained a surge in attention and credibility, while the WNBA is left playing catch-up, with critics increasingly calling out its reluctance to spotlight its brightest stars. The lesson here is clear. Sports leagues need to recognize and embrace their game changers. Failing to do so isn't just a disservice to the athletes, but also a missed chance to grow the sport, engage fans, and make lasting cultural impact. Caitlin Clark has shown she's ready to lead. Now it's time for the WNBA to follow suit.
I used to run around golf courses and want to go to golf events when I was a young kid or basketball events, and it can really change their life if they can have one interaction with you. So just trying to make as much time as I can to sign an autograph for a young kid or give them a ball or give them a high five, because that goes a really long.
The LPGA's investment in Caitlin Clark wasn't just strategic, it was transformative. By pairing her with Nelly Korda, the world's top golfer, they didn't just create a highlight, they orchestrated a viral sensation. Caitlin didn't simply show up, she delivered. From her swings to her charisma, she left a trail of viral moments that resonated across social media, driving merchandise sales and drawing in fans from every corner, including those who'd never followed women's golf before. Meanwhile, the WNBA's contrasting approach, or lack thereof, has left fans frustrated. Caitlin Clark was nothing short of phenomenal during her rookie season, breaking records and generating excitement that brought fresh eyes to the league. Yet instead of celebrating her accomplishments, the league seemed to sideline her. Whether it was letting rivalries overshadow her impact or failing to acknowledge her LPGA debut, the silence has been deafening. Fans have taken notice, and they're vocal about it. Social media is ablaze with criticism over the WNBA's reluctance to fully embrace Clark as a marquee star. Critics point to a pattern. Instead of highlighting Clark's record-breaking achievements and crossover appeal,